Three, two, one. Hi, welcome to Miracles Online Podcast. This is a podcast about relationships, dating, marriage, and commitment. And I'm so happy to be able to bring you this type of podcast because I am deeply involved, deeply in love. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the levels of falling in love in our podcast. I am your host, Jeff, and this is...
I'm Kat.
And she is my significant other. We've been married now coming on to 27 years. And I really felt that the title and the topic of this podcast is really important to recognize, because when we get into a relationship, we tend to think, oh, well, this is excitement. Oh, well, the honeymoon years or the months are over. And you start to go into a drudge or a kind of a fall into a doldrum, a typical, lull or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be that way. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to be able to share with the wisdom and the nuggets of how to recognize and build deeper levels of love in your relationship. So with that, do you want me to start or do you want to start?
Well, I just want to share that, falling in love is a journey, one of your favorite bands, right? Not a single moment. And I love this quote. Falling in love is not one step, but a stairway to soul alignment. And that really, I think, says it all. It's a journey.
Well, don't stop believing.
Don't. Absolutely.
Well, so I'm having to work wheels in the sky in this. You just wait.
So we're going to help our listeners identify, beyond butterflies and recognize the soul alignment, the synchronicity, which is, the ultimate level of love.
Yeah. So, it's just like going into a pool. You have your stairs going into your 2 feet, 3 feet, and all of a sudden you're 3.5 feet into the pool. You start wading, and all of a sudden that pool is about up here. And, don't go into the deep end. And pretty soon you're 10 feet at the deep end, right? So levels of love actually has those effect to it. And we're going to be able to talk about that, right?
So I want to ask you a question, Jeff, before you get going. What is the first thing that you usually notice about a partner? Now, I'm not talking about the, oh, she's hot, and it's funny. I was just talking to our granddaughter about charisma or sex appeal. I think was the question she had. So I kind of told her, charisma is different than sex appeal. Charisma is an energetic, beyond the, oh, he's got a good body or she's got a good body, sex appeal. So, beyond that, what, have you ever mistaken attraction for compatibility? And what did you notice first in me? I guess we'll talk about me rather than when you were single with all those other women.
Well, no, I really do believe one thing is that we think that if we have some commonality of hobbies or things we like to do, that becomes a catalyst. Although what I've learned from that is, yes, you can share those things, but if you don't still have the deep connection of the level of communication, the level of opening your heart, maybe even the level of defeat and past relationship that teaches you something for your next one. So, and the reason why I say that is because we just got through prepping for the show, that one of the relationships, or I can't even say relationship, one of the ladies that I dated while we were doing the online dating thing was very giving. And what it was a constant, here's flowers for you. I made dinner for you. All these things were great. However, it got to the point I really felt that everything was done on one side. So it was an avalanche of this greatness of giving. And there was nothing giving back. So it wasn't a balance thing. Now, a lot of guys would sit here and go, please tell me where there's women that would do that.
Right. And you admittedly said in your 20s, you would have loved that because, you were your figment of your own imagination, being a rock star. And that's what you attracted.
Imagination. I just wanted to let you know.
So let's talk about vulnerability and that being a gateway. And sometimes trauma bonds can mimic this stage. Maybe this ex of yours had some trauma bonds, possibly with her first husband, et cetera. We mentioned a little bit. But let's talk about a little bit about vulnerability and share maybe a story. I think you had a story about vulnerability you wanted to share.
Well, vulnerability comes down to if you're still self-aware and self-assured. So that's the key about vulnerability. And the aspect of how do you recognize that from another person? Is that where you're going with this?
Well, I think you had a story about you and I where, you know,
Oh,
right.
when we were first meeting,
Yes.
we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay,
On the phone.
so
you know.
here's the thing: what I've kind of recognized at that point when we were getting to know each other, that the discovery time of each other. Who are you? And you look great in your picture, but who really
What are you
Yeah.
about? Yeah. What are your values?
That's the part. If you're a parent, I've noticed a lot of females at that point when I was talking was not very enthusiastic, wanting to talk about their kids. They want to talk about their relationship. They want to talk about what's going on with the intimacy coming up, and are we going to be a good fit? Everything was so focused on us. There was nothing talking about the family dynamic or what happens if we really got into each other and then we're getting married.
Well, and part of
Right?
that, I have to be devil's advocate here because I was a single mom, older children, but still,
Yeah.
nevertheless, still one at home at 15. That could be a defense mechanism that, like, let's make a connection
Right.
first, and then I'll tell you about the children. It's a package deal. That was always my thinking. And
That's right.
And as I mentioned to you before the show, because there's over a 10-year age difference between us, and I was done having children, I really thought once I mentioned, and it didn't take too long, within a day and a half, that I had children, and that I wasn't having any more children, that would probably be the end of this relationship, which just getting to know
Yeah,
you.
but that's just you kind of thinking that because of my age. But the
Yes.
vulnerability aspect of it, like the point that I felt that was really different was you're the first one that when I said, okay, you have kids that's no longer living with you, you have one that's living with you. So what's his name? And you immediately answered, and I go, okay, tell me about it. And you were very open, very, loving about how you guys react and behave on daily lives.
And you were very interested.
I was.
I think
yeah.
that was one of the dynamics that was really special that we had, Jeff, was I call it, we interviewed each other in a loving, natural way, but we were interested to know,
That's right.
who are you? What are you about? What's the day in the life of you? What's the day in the life of your mind? Where have you been? Where would you like to go? Where do you see yourself? What are your dreams?
That's
Really, we were very interested in finding out about the other person, not just on a superficial level.
Yeah.
And so I had no reason but to be honest with you.
And that's where the levels start to get deeper and wider on falling in love. If we just talked about us and just talked about the attractiveness of how good you look, and man, I can't wait to hold your hand and maybe get some kissy, and ultimately, I can't wait to be, in love and have this great love life and sex and all that. I mean, it's so shallow and surfaced on just.
Well, you might have
this.
scared me off if you went down that road before we'd actually met in person. I might have run for the hills.
Well, no, because we did talk about that.
Okay.
You were okay with, but I mean, like I said, we had 6-7 days of 6-7 hours at a time going at this.
Yeah,
it
was a marathon. Yeah.
So it wasn't like, there
was
I
definitely a connection. Yeah.
For, half an hour. Next, I'm going, hey man, woohoo. Wasn't that at all, because it was, I was taking this extremely serious. And this is, to me, going to be the love of my life that I'm looking for. So
let's talk about that. When does love feel like it's guided by something greater, like divinely orchestrated? What's something you can share?
I wish I could put that in a bottle, and be able to sell it and show it and explain it. I can't really say.
But there were moments, and we've shared on previous podcasts.
Yeah.
There was, for me, you bringing the rose. There was you going out to the beach and talking to God. There was there was a, and then just this instant, we
Well-
read the same books, we listened to the same AM talk radio.
Well, let me give the audience a little bit better setup from my end. That okay, we got married after 6 weeks of knowing each other. So this came from October to November. November we got married, and then December we went back to Houston to meet with my family, and we had a big party. So this whole entire time has been, of course, heads in the clouds, having a great time, and everybody's having a just the best of the honeymoon time frame, quote unquote. So once we finish all that and we come back home, and then now is look for a job because I have moved. I've quit my webmaster job, and I have to start a new life. And with that, then of course becomes the focus of how we're going to do this, and we start to go down a path that isn't so honeymoon anymore. Okay, but we're working at it, and this is the part where we went to the therapy and we argued, and you're not the man that I thought you were, and all that good stuff, because it was very confusing. It was trying. It was
well, it was I call it the getting to know.
well, there's
you
that,
period.
but I would say for me, it was testing that are you really good for your word? So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's really us. It was really a test for me on my end because I can only give you my opinion of me, right? So we did this, and the number one thing that I knew the commitment came is when I had my hair at that point from playing in music business in Hollywood all the way down to my waistband and my back. And I made a decision that, okay, I'm going to change the way I am. And I got my hair cut. We're talking about totally off into just nice little professional cut. And I was going to go look for a career position away from the entertainment business. That to me was the first level of love commitment because I was willing to do everything from it. But I always felt that was on my side, though. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, I'm giving you this. What are you giving me? What are you giving me? And that was actually a wrong way of looking at it.
Oh, you felt you were giving up something. What am I giving up?
I was giving up
I was giving up my
your closet
closet
space.
space.
She keeps on telling me.
I told him we can't. My closet has I had a very small closet. We have just enough room for my stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can get a house down the street.
She wanted me to get an apartment so I can have my own closet space. I don't know how serious she was, but she said it multiple times to the point where I'm like, really? No, but at that point, because of those kind of events, that made you work at something. So from my end, I'm feeling like I'm lifting weights. It's off season. I'm not playing any games. I'm not being competitive, so I have nothing to show for.
I like that. Lifting weights and it's off season. Oh,
Yeah.
It was in season, honey.
Oh, was it?
It was my season.
Okay, so about 2 years later, less than 2 years later, around that time frame, we took a trip from our home to go to Northern California like a vacation. I've landed a professional sales job at a Steinway & Sons showroom floor, the largest Steinway dealer outside of New York City, where Steinways are made. So all of a sudden I had this whole complete different life, learning a whole complete different trade. And I finally get some time off. So we flew to Sacramento, and then we rented a convertible Mustang, and we drove through Northern California back roads, visit places like Jamestown, and stayed at bed and breakfast and old hotels and so forth like
we
that.
did Yosemite too, then, didn't we?
I'm sure we
Yeah.
did because we drove in the middle of the night there's no lights into this park. But the greatness of it is that week, I start to fall in love with her differently than I ever
I'm glad you
felt.
added differently.
Differently than I've ever felt. I can't explain. When I say differently, I mean deeper. I mean more dense. I mean more thoughts, more vibrational, more in heart,
Spiritual
yeah,
love. Yeah.
it's so I'm going to tell you exactly the moment that I fell deep in love with her all over again. We were going on the Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and there is a photo booth that you go to. The old photo booth where you go in and make your faces, you get a strip of 4 shots, right?
Right.
This was similar to that, but what it does is it was going to do a pencil drawing of the picture you took.
So cool. Never seen one like
Right.
that
So we
before.
were like that. And we went in there and put in our dollar, took our picture, but picture didn't come out. And she looked at me and she gave me the look of how could this not be? In that moment, my heart just shifted into I will do whatever it takes to help never make you feel that. You know, and for that moment, we walked over to a different place, which is like maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 yards from this photo booth. We talked to a gentleman that was in a booth selling tickets for some event. And he said, hey, you know anything about the photo booth? We put money in and we can't get the photo out. There's no photo. So do you know who we should talk to? Young man got out from the booth. This whole time, he didn't say a word to us. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say a word. He just walked over to the booth, reached his hand into the machine dispenser, like way into it, like he's grabbing a candy bar or soda or something. And lo and behold, he yanks out the photo that was stuck in there. Of course, we would have never known this. He probably has done this for everybody. He goes,
Right.
hey, who is the person who's doing the photo, vending? So that moment has always itched in my mind because as soon as we got that photo, her eyes lit up, her energy, just everything was like, it's complete. We have this documentation of us. And for me, it was
You were my hero, honey.
Well-
and tell them where that picture is now.
that picture is on our wall. It's on the wall of family that we have in our house. And then I
had it blown up
Yeah.
to like a 8x10.
well, it was 8x10.
Oh, it was
Remember?
8x10. Oh,
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I just had it framed.
right. The beauty behind it is that moment came so unexpected, Then also driving through the windy roads of Northern California, top down, listening to classic rock radio. And I remember looking at her and she had her sunglasses on, smiling, singing, driving. I fell in love with her again. And how do you fall in love again? How does that feel? Well, if you took what you imagined, that initial infatuation, then you take that first initial kiss and then the first initial sexual intimacy, now times 100. That's what it feels like to fall in love again. Yeah, it was intense, and then I embrace it. I think about it fondly. My heart remembers the feeling. Every time I think about that story, my heart reminds me how it feels.
Think about that often. Huh?
I do. I think about it often.
I love hearing that story.
Yeah.
From you. Yeah, it warms my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this happened just like a couple of weeks ago. Like I
Oh.
was said on the previous episode, when she was walking around the house, she's picking out a thermos for me. My heart melted. I was in the kitchen making food, and all of a sudden I heard this, and that feeling came over me. It just overwhelmed me.
I'm
like-
picking out a thermos for you.
Yeah. It's something that the only way I can say it is that it's about the most safety, secure embracement of love. The only thing I could say is probably the last time we felt this, we were in the womb.
Oh.
That's security.
And everyone can have those moments because there's another song in your relationship. Maybe it's not picking out a thermos. Maybe it's something else.
It's different for
There's-
everyone. Once you
It's different
embrace
from
it,
everyone. Yeah.
the factor of falling in love and recognizing the levels of love that is
Mhm.
there. The number one key factor you have to always remember: it takes intention and effort.
Mm.
Okay, so you can sit here and let's just say this: it's like polishing the ball, right? It's shiny, but you want it mirror like. So you keep on polishing and polishing. There's refinements, the mastery of it. I teach this and I interview people on art and mastery just because of this, because I know in a relationship, I can tell her every morning, I love you, dear. I love you, babe. All these things. But these are all just saying it. How do we actually feel and embrace it? So I have to touch, hug, kiss, make dinner, these things. These are not chores.
That's the best part.
These are not chores. These are contributions into wellness of us. And if you view it like that, you don't ever sit there and be burdened with, oh man, I'm so tired and I have to do this. It doesn't become that, actually. Is I can't wait to I get
It's like,
to do
what
this.
can I do? Yeah, what can I do today?
Right.
And be open to receive, open to take guidance for that synchronicity, because synchronicity is everywhere. We just have to have our eyes open to it,
Mhm.
to see it,
Yeah.
to be aware of it,
Yeah.
to be, attuned so that we are, creating synchronicity.
That's right. And sometimes it's extremely difficult. I think when you're so-called scrambled and distracted with daily life,
course.
such as work. Okay. And this is the part that we have to look at from a big picture. Are you doing things you love in sense of surviving, making money to live? If you're not, then it's really hard to take the dislike and then turn it into a like right when you get home. You know, that shift instantaneously, chances are not very successful because you're still dragging in 8 hours plus of angst, stress, negativity, um, just things that is not contributing to it. So, how do you dissipate that energy if you have it? So that's a concern, but it can be done because I know you work jobs that you just went, I do this job because it pays good money, not because of anything else really. And I've done jobs because it pays good money, not because I love it or anything, Then of course there's jobs that we done.
Well, I've tolerated. I have to be honest. I've never done a job that I didn't benefit from, that I didn't believe in, because there's no way I could have, succeeded at the level that I did if I did not believe in the product, if I didn't not believe that I was helping someone to, be moving into their next new home journey, let's say when it's new homes, and build a better life. Those are the things, is, helping people, that drives you. That's, of course, as we know, retail is very grueling. The hours are very demanding. Brutal. But I was very well rewarded because I succeeded and was always at the top. So I got to help a lot of people, but it is grueling. It is tiring. There's not a lot of, steam left at the end of the day when you're working those kinds of hours. And we talked about another episode where we were intentional about when, our first granddaughter was born, to start a business of her own so that we could have flexibility and be able to spend time with our grandchild.
That's right.
And that's been
and
such a blessing.
And that's the key factor of it. How are your mental approach toward this? The mental, is it harmonizing, right? Is it in line with, and I'll give you an example. In a relationship, let's say she had to work past her regular hours and it becomes one of those, I got to pull late all-nighters or whatever it may be. Are you going to be the one that's fussing and go, what about me, and play that game about I'm not getting attention? Or are you going to be supportive? She has been in a situation where she's writing contracts to sell new homes 9:00 at night. And instead of me sitting there complaining and whining about it, you know what I did? I got in the car, went to store and got dinner ready and took it to her office and have food ready for her to eat while she was still finishing.
Well, those were the crazy days where
Huge.
Me and my partner sold 50 homes in one quarter. We hired our own assistant. So yes, I remember that like it was yesterday. It was 10:00 at night. I was writing contracts.
Right.
Was very thankful to have the opportunity, but very grueling. But yes, you were always so supportive, and that meant so much. So much to me.
Because I know that meant something for you. And that's the part what I was saying, I didn't do this every day. I did it when it was necessary.
When it was necessary. Yeah. And that was, like I said, that we've sold 50 homes in one quarter between me and my partner. It's a lot of paperwork and a lot of opportunity and a lot of people getting a new home. Long
and
time
at
ago.
the same time she's doing that, I was in new home sales. I was not as successful, but I was there. And I also was working.
I don't think when you brought me the food.
No, when I was bringing you the food, I was with a piano company.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. My piano company stuff, would close up at 7 in the evening, and I'll get home and I'll make dinner because she's getting off at 7. She takes an hour to get home. I take 15 minutes.
An hour.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
So by the time she got home, dinner would be almost ready. And somehow that became the routine, didn't it? The ritual,
Well, as I said, you've really morphed into an amazing chef, Jeff. And although I like to cook when I'm not tired. And when I've been working, I'm tired. But most chefs, I don't mean to be sexist, but the majority of them are men. I think there's just something about. I don't
We
know if
like
it's the
to eat.
creativity. What?
We like to eat.
Oh, that's it. And that's what he's told me because I
Awesome.
like to eat. I go, so glad you like to eat, honey, because
Yeah.
his cooking has just in the last, gosh, I would say 10 years. I do not complain if he is watching the cooking channel. Keep watching it, babe. He watches every kind of, street cooking, what's it called? Diners and drive-bys, drive-ins. I mean, all kinds of cooking. And he's married it into his own creative, presentation. And I really get a joy beyond the eating. Yes, I enjoy your preparation. And I would rather him cook but I know he needs a break sometime, then go out to eat because it's hard pressed to find cooking as good as his. Fresh, of course, we do fresh, organic, all of that. But it really warms my heart to see you light up in your presentation, in your creativity. I mean, he'll start thinking about what he's going to cook for dinner in the morning, and he's got it simmering in his head of the creation and how he's going to create it and what he's going to have and how he's going to present it. And it just tickles me.
Well, this is falling in
warms my
love
heart.
on a deeper level, right?
Mhm.
This is the
It makes me
consciousness.
fall exactly, and I fall in love with you
Yeah.
on a deeper level.
And
watching you.
the consciousness of my intentions and my so-called the fusing of my soul into the act of cooking, the preparation. And this is where, when you hear, you can taste the love in the food.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
We say that all the time, and I can.
Yeah.
I can. I can
Yeah.
feel it. I can taste it.
Yeah.
We could go into Dr. Emoto about water, but it pertains to food and everything else that's inanimate.
Sure.
That how we think about it, if we infuse love, gratitude
Right.
into these objects, inanimate or not, that
Right.
it changes molecularly in our bodies.
Right.
In our world.
That's a huge thing because I definitely recognize, if we went into, let's say, making dinner and there's a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese and hamburger steak.
Hey, it was good enough for my kids.
Well, the
they
point,
loved it. In fact, they requested it above and beyond homemade macaroni and cheese. You heard the story.
they're kids.
I know.
They're
they're
still kids.
We want boxed.
But my point being, in regards to how to bring this level of love into, is that your intention of prepping and making this food, it's nurturing it. It's taking a time to be attentive to it. Great food. Some things are cooked really quick. Some things are not. You recognize those things, and then of course the presentation, the plating the food, and so forth. It becomes something that she looks forward to. So if she looks forward to
the layering, the plating, it's truly, you're truly a culinary artist.
So
Jeff.
so the art, that art comes from love, the giving in that art. Hey, look, it's we have to stop and say heart. So again, this is
emoji.
around
Thank you, Alexa.
Early evening where we're always reminded to tell each other we love each other.
Yes.
Just in case one day when we're so far in the future and goes, what's your name? Oh, heart.
But that's a great tip that I didn't have on my little sheet here, is put a reminder in your phone or on Alexa. We did talk about that for, what did you call it? Love bites, the kisses, or to send a note.
Yes.
Love meals. Yeah.
Well, this is a love meal.
And this is a love meal. It is.
Yeah.
It's a digital today. Barbara would be proud of us.
No question. We have a reminder that goes on 6:04 every day. It says, I love you.
Central Standard Time.
Yeah. I love you, Big Bear. I love you, Little Bear. Heart emoji.
So he's Big Bear. I'm Little Bear.
Yeah.
And
I have a hat that said so.
Yep.
Right.
And so do I. Right here. We'll wear it.
And then the whole intention behind it was that we're not going to let a day go by without acknowledging it. And I don't care how busy we are. This is our reminder. And I love it. I love that this idea came. I can say, oh yeah, I came up with this idea and I'm so great. No, it was, of course, Universal granted us this great energy, this great opportunity to using the frequencies and the intentions, and it became part of our life. You know, same as here, the Miracles Online podcasting. This is something that was recommended to us then we decided, yeah, how could we turn this down? Because this is exactly what we talked about.
This is us, and
it's being us.
It's
together.
it's really therapeutic. Also, we're learning. I think as a relationship can become a platform for service and expansion, and that's our hopes in this.
Yep.
And that service and expansion gives back, to us. I've found out things about you that I haven't heard before, and I'm sure vice versa, as we are in this, really pretty much unscripted, just a basic, topic, and we're exploring moments, of our past.
Yeah.
And
we're sharing
the wisdom that we've gathered.
Yeah. I wanted to share my experience and our experience. There's no question that I know as the shift comes to higher awakening, and we are now getting away from the mind conditioning of watching TV, go to work as a slave, all those things, we start to open up our connection and our connection to each other. So with that, I recognize that how can we assist in this? And this is how it starts to form. So because of that, we want to get as many people as we possibly can. So we want you to like and subscribe and share it.
Subscribe. I don't know where it is, but yes, subscribe.
Like and subscribe this podcast and share the podcast.
And if you have
Support
episodes, that you'd like us to talk about, topics you'd like us to talk about, please drop us a note.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Even share your story. We'd love to share your story or hear about your story.
Yeah.
And then before I do my final, you wanted to give them the website.
Yeah, you Publishing YA. You see the banner scrolling on the podcast. Check us out. We got books.
Check us out. Miracles Online.
Yep.
I'm working on a second book. It's called When the Mind Changes Its Mind. I'm super excited about that. But for this, it's a GPS for online dating. And if you're single, divorced, widowed, or someone, pick up the book. It's less than $10. You'll be glad you did. And
okay, you got a poem to wrap us up?
I don't have a.
Oh, you have a letter?
I don't have a poem, but I just want to leave the listeners with this.
Okay.
So, love isn't a place that we fall into. It's a temple that we rise within. So I'm going to challenge you to journal or invite you, not challenge you. I'm going to invite you to journal. Just write down, which level am I in, and where do I want to rise? What level do I want to rise to, and what steps could I take to rise to that level? Because we all deserve to love and be loved to the deepest depths available. We have one big, beautiful life that we know of. This one is it. And everyone deserves the whole cake, not crumbs. So I wish you all love, peace, and miracles. And with that, Jeff, take us out.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Miracles Online podcast. We do this with the utmost respect and love to everyone. We want you and your relationship to be successful and thrive. And I want you to be able to experience many levels of love. So with all that, we'll see you next time from Jeff and Kat.